The Andy Griffith Show stands as an ageless gem, a series that stirs sentiments across generations. It ranked among the top shows of its era, consistently holding firm within the top 7 ratings and clinching the coveted #1 spot for its concluding season. Viewers developed an intimate connection with the inhabitants of Mayberry, considering them as close as kin, and its remarkable success spawned spin-offs like Gomer Pyle USMC and Mayberry, RFD. The paternal bond portrayed was heartening, and the dynamic between Andy and Barney was unparalleled. We adored this heartening and enduring program, and the exceptional ensemble cast was the primary catalyst. However, as we delve into their narratives, we must confront the sorrowful reality. Many of the treasured cast members have since departed, leaving behind a legacy that will forever be revered by enthusiasts worldwide. Let's explore in this video Don Knotts as Barney Fife. Deputy Barney Fife played a significant role in the show's immense popularity. His exaggerated mannerisms and impeccable comedic timing made him the ideal foil to the earnest Andy Taylor, and Knotts endeared himself to audiences throughout his 5-season stint, earning 5 Emmy Award recognitions for his efforts. Originating his career as a ventriloquist and comedian, Don Knotts showcased versatility in his craft. He first gained prominence with a 2-year stint on the soap opera Search for Tomorrow, starting in 1953. His fateful encounter with Andy on No Time for Sergeants marked the beginning of a legendary partnership. Knotts battled with hypochondria and macular degeneration. Betty Lynn, his co-star on The Andy Griffith Show, depicted him as a reserved individual, incredibly kind-hearted, a far cry from Barney Fife. Renowned TV writer Mark Evanier hailed him as the most beloved figure in the entire entertainment industry. Knotts passed away at 81 years old on February 24, 2006, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, succumbing to pulmonary and respiratory complications from pneumonia linked to lung cancer. He underwent treatment at the medical center in the months leading up to his demise, but eventually returned home after showing signs of improvement. Obituaries for Knotts acknowledged his profound impact on fellow entertainers. In early 2011, a bronze plaque featuring several of his iconic film and television roles replaced the plain granite headstone at his gravesite. Furthermore, a statue paying tribute to him, crafted by Jamie Lester, was unveiled on July 23, 2016, outside the Metropolitan Theater on High Street, in his hometown of Morgantown, West Virginia. Frances Bavier as Aunt B. Taylor. Aunt B served as the paternal aunt of Andy Taylor and gained renown in Mayberry for her culinary prowess. One of the more beloved Aunt B episodes depicts her winning valuable prizes on a game show and grappling with what to do with them. Hailing from Manhattan, Frances embarked on her entertainment journey in vaudeville before achieving success on Broadway. Transitioning to television, she secured her first recurring role in 71 episodes of It's a Great Life. In 1972, Bavier retired from the acting scene and purchased a residence in Sillair City, North Carolina. Reflecting on her decision to settle in North Carolina instead of her hometown of New York, Bavier remarked, "I was captivated by North Carolina, its picturesque landscapes and lush foliage." Although it was rumored that Bavier briefly wed Russell Carpenter in her early career, there is no concrete evidence to support this claim. She was discharged on December 4, 1989, a mere 10 days before celebrating her 87th birthday. Bavier passed away at 7 p.m. on December 6, 1989, just 2 days after being discharged from the hospital. The primary causes of her demise were attributed to congestive heart failure, myocardial infarction, coronary artery disease, and atherosclerosis, exacerbated by breast cancer, arthritis, and COPD. Howard McNear as Floyd Lawson. Floyd the Barber portrayed the leisurely paced, somewhat absent-minded barber in Mayberry. He first appeared in Stranger in Town, with actor Walter Baldwin bringing the character to life. He originated the role of Doc Charles Adams on CBS Radio's Gunsmoke, 1952-1961. Prior to and during his tenure, he made numerous appearances on various CBS radio programs, including recurring roles on the popular radio detective series Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar from 1955 to 1960. Additional radio credits included roles on anthology series like Escape and Suspense. McNear marked his cinematic debut in an uncredited part in the 1953 film Escape from Fort Bravo. In 1956, he featured in the episode The Pest Hole, S1E24, of the TV adaptation of Gunsmoke. In a 1958 episode of Leave It to Beaver, McNear appeared on television as a barber named Andy, who provided Wally with his inaugural shave. In 1962, he made a guest appearance on The Twilight Zone in the episode Hocus Pocus and Frisbee. Subsequently, in 1964, McNear assumed a role on Gunsmoke, portraying Dodge City's proprietor of the general store in Aunt Theed. On January 3, 1969, McNear passed away at San Fernando Valley Veterans Hospital in California at the age of 63 due to complications from pneumonia resulting from a stroke. He is survived by his wife Helen and his son Christopher. Andy Griffith as Andy Taylor. Andy Taylor portrayed the composed sheriff of Mayberry, offering guidance to the townsfolk and his young son, Opie. Imparting lessons on character and values was his forte. Sheriff Taylor found joy in the simple pleasures like fishing with his son or playing guitar. Hailing from North Carolina, Andy Griffith kick-started his career as a monologist, regaling audiences with tales such as What It Was Football, which soared to number 9 on the charts after its 1953 release. Its popularity even earned Griffith a spot on The Ed Sullivan Show. In 1958, Griffith reprised his earlier stage role for the film adaptation of No Time for Sergeants, a project that also sparked a lasting collaboration with the remarkable Don Knotts, and served as the inspiration for the spin-off, Gomer Pyle, USMC. Griffith's appearance as a county sheriff on an episode of Make Room for Daddy in 1960 laid the groundwork for The Andy Griffith Show, as both were helmed by Sheldon Leonard. In many ways, Andy was the unsung hero. While others like Knotts received accolades, Griffith's contributions to script development often went unrecognized. Despite never earning an Emmy nomination, Griffith was instrumental in shaping the show. In 1967, despite being under contract for one more season, Griffith opted out, paving the way for the spin-off Mayberry RFD, led by the talented Ken Berry. Griffith assumed the role of executive producer and made guest appearances in 5 episodes. Alongside his comedic monologue recordings in the 1950s, Griffith released an album featuring lively country and gospel tunes. His passing in 2012 at the age of 86 in his home state of North Carolina left behind a legacy that endures to this day. Mount Airy, North Carolina, pays tribute to his memory with the Andy Griffith Museum. Truly a legend in every sense. George Lindsay as Goober Pyle. Goober Pyle portrayed the slightly less foolish cousin of Jim Neighbors' Gomer. Consequently, he served as Mayberry's sincere mechanic, offering plenty of comedic relief. Interestingly, Lindsay was initially considered for the role of Gomer. Upon relocating to Los Angeles in 1962, he ventured into television, appearing in 3 episodes of The Alfred Hitchcock Hour in 1964. However, his breakthrough came with his portrayal of Goober. Additionally, he became a recurring guest on the country variety show Hee Haw, presenting a more rural interpretation of Goober. In 1972, Lindsay took on the role of Charlie, one of 2 highwaymen, in the Gunsmoke episode Blind Man's Bluff, and portrayed an escaped convict named the Dove in an episode of The Rifleman. He reprised his role as Goober for the final time on the syndicated country music variety show Hee Haw, where he portrayed a more rustic and somewhat sharper version of the character. His tenure on the show lasted from 1972 to 1992. Lindsay's marriage to Joyanne Herbert ended in divorce, and they shared a son, George Jr., and a daughter, Camden Jo Lindsay Gardner, as well as two grandsons. Ann Wilson, a Nashville businesswoman, was Lindsay's partner for many years until his passing. Lindsay passed away on May 6, 2012, in Nashville, Tennessee, due to heart failure. He was 83 years old. Jack Dodson as Howard Sprague. Howard Sprague serves as the simple county clerk of Mayberry and the enduring offspring of Mrs. Sprague. He is brought to life by actor Jack Dodson in 38 installments of The Andy Griffith Show and 45 episodes of Mayberry RFD. During the late 1970s, he held a recurring role as Mickey Malf, the father of Ralph Malf, who is an optometrist on Happy Days. In 1975, he made an appearance in the Barney Miller episode Horse Thief. In the 6th season of 1979-80, he featured in the episode Guns. He made a subsequent appearance on Barney Miller in the two-part episode Homicide during the 7th season. Dodson starred in all 24 episodes of the CBS romantic sitcom All's Fair during the 1976-77 season. Set in Washington, D.C., Dodson portrays Wayne Joplin, a slightly clumsy Democratic senator from an unspecified rural area. The show endured for just one season. In 1983, Dodson returned to Broadway in the revival of You Can't Take It With You. The actor revisited the role of Howard Sprague in the 1986 NBC TV movie Return to Mayberry, as well as in a 1990 episode of It's Garry Shandling's show titled The Day Howard Moved In. In 1986, Dodson appeared as Gus, an attendant at a bus depot, in the Steel 1 Pearl 2 episode of Mama's Family. He passed away in Los Angeles, California, from heart failure at the age of 63 on September 16, 1994. Dodson's surviving spouse, art director Mary Dodson, the younger sibling of actor Fritz Weaver, passed away on February 15, 2016. Annetta Corsott as Helen Crump. Annetta Corsott portrayed Helen Crump on The Andy Griffith Show. She embarked on her acting journey in New York City in the mid-1950s. In 1958, Corsott and Steve McQueen made their cinematic debuts in the independent cult horror film The Blob. On the small screen from 1961 to 1962, she depicted Irma Hole on the CBS sitcom Mrs. G Goes to College. Corsott reprised her role as Helen Crump in the reunion specials Return to Mayberry in 1986 and The Andy Griffith Show reunion in 1993. As an author, she co-wrote the Mystery Reader's Quiz book. Corsott never entered into matrimony, nor did she have offspring. According to the 2015 publication Andy and Don, The Making of a Friendship and a Classic American TV Show, Corsott and Andy Griffith had a lasting romantic involvement throughout their 5 years together on The Andy Griffith Show. This relationship was well known among the cast and crew. On November 6, 1995, Corsott passed away from cancer in Los Angeles, California. A devoted Catholic, she was laid to rest at Valhalla Memorial Park Cemetery in the nearby vicinity of North Hollywood. Hope Summers as Clara Edwards. Clara Edwards is Aunt Bee's dearest companion, though occasionally her competitor, and one of Mayberry's renowned meddlers. The performer Hope Summers appeared in 32 installments of The Andy Griffith Show under various aliases. Summers was a regional performer, frequently showcasing her talents in solo performances starting in the 1930s. In radio, she held roles in the anthology Destination Freedom, a series scripted by Richard Durham, dedicated to recounting the lives of notable individuals of African descent in the Americas. Summers didn't enter network television until her mid-50s, debuting in 1951 on the soap opera Hawkins Falls, aired from Chicago. Although she had a few uncredited background roles in short films, her first credited role in a Hollywood feature film came in 1957, with a minor part in 0 Hour. She continued to appear in films as a supporting character. While her roles in films were typically small, often uncredited, she had a credited role as Mrs. Gilmore. one of the more benevolent members of the Witches group, at the core of Roman Polanski's 1968 film masterpiece, Rosemary's Baby. For nearly 2 decades, from 1961 until her passing, Summers served as the voice of Mrs. Butterworth in the Mrs. Butterworth's syrup commercials. Summers encountered local entrepreneur Claude James Witherill in 1926, the same year she relocated to Peoria to teach. The couple wedded in 1927 and had 2 offspring together, Hal Smith as Otis Campbell. Otis Campbell portrayed the town drunk in Mayberry in the American TV sitcom The Andy Griffith Show. Otis was portrayed by Hal Smith and made frequent appearances on the show from 1960 to 1967. However, his character's presence dwindled towards the end of the series due to concerns raised by the show's sponsors regarding the depiction of excessive drinking. In 1957, Smith portrayed Roland Daggett, a newspaper man in the early days of Mark Twain, in the 15 Paces to Fame episode of Death Valley Days. He made at least one guest appearance in the TV series Perry Mason, in the episode titled The Case of the Treacherous Toupee in 1960. Smith was wedded to Louise C. Smith from 1936 until her passing in 1992. They shared a son named Terry. Following his spouse's demise in 1992, Smith's own health began to decline rapidly. On January 28, 1994, at the age of 77, Smith passed away from an apparent heart attack. Don Pitts, his longtime representative, stated that Smith passed away at his residence in Santa Monica, California, while he was engrossed in a nightly radio drama. Paul Hartman as Emmett Clark. Emmett Clark operates the Fix-It Emporium in Mayberry. In 1922, he partnered with Grace Barrett for a comedic vaudeville routine that both honors and gently satirizes popular dances of the era, ranging from ballet to swing. They tied the knot in 1923. Joined by Grace, Paul debuted on Broadway in Ballyhoo of 1932 alongside Bob Hope. They later appeared in Cole Porter's Red Hot and Blue, continuing their performances on Broadway. Their routine featured the sharp and witty Grace dominating the awkward, open-mouthed Paul, interspersed with dance sequences and comedic musical acts. He secured a role in the 1960 film Inherit the Wind. In 1967, he starred alongside Robert Morse in the film adaptation of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Hartman passed away on October 2, 1973, from a heart attack in Los Angeles at the age of 69. Jim Nabors as Gomer Pyle. Gomer Pyle made his debut in the middle of Season 3, characterized by a simple-minded demeanor with a childlike innocence. Nabors was discovered by Andy himself while performing at a Santa Monica nightclub. Upon Howard McNear's return to the show after health issues, Jim Nabors proposed the concept of his own spin-off series, Gomer Pyle USMC, which enjoyed 5 successful seasons. Nabors found himself largely typecast as Gomer Pyle, leading him to leave television for concert performances and tours, leveraging his exceptional baritone singing talent. He later relocated to Hawaii, where he launched a new live show that ran for 2 years. While he occasionally continued to sing, he mostly remained out of the public spotlight. His final television appearances were in the 1991 revival of The Carol Burnett Show. In 2013, Jim entered into marriage with his partner of 38 years, shortly after same-sex marriage became legal in Washington state. They had first met in the 1970s when Stan Cadwallader served as a firefighter in Honolulu. Jim passed away at his residence in Honolulu at the age of 87 in 2017. Ron Howard as Opie Taylor. Oh, young Opie, the offspring of Andy. The renowned Ron Howard embodies this typical and endearing rural baby boomer. He commenced his journey in 1956, accompanying his actor father, Rance Howard, to sets like Frontier Woman, where he was included in the production. Then, in '59, at a mere 5 years old, he secured a recurring role as Stewart on Dennis the Menace. The subsequent year, he assumed the role of Opie, becoming a household name, recognized by all for his identity, visage, and virtually every aspect of his persona. While his portrayal of Richie Cunningham in Happy Days is well remembered, some overlook his involvement in the 1971 to 1972 comedy drama The Smith Family, where he starred alongside Henry Fonda and Darlene Carr, the younger sibling of the Sound of Music luminary. Since his 20s, Ron has steadily evolved into a formidable director. He clinched an Academy Award for his directorial prowess in A Beautiful Mind and received another nomination in 2009 for Frost Nixon. Presently, nearing 70, his recent directorial endeavors include Solo, A Star Wars Story, 2018, Hillbilly Elegy, 2020, and 13 Lives, 2022. Many of the wonderful actors who brought these characters to life have since passed away, leaving behind a legacy that will forever live on in our hearts. Let's take a moment to remember and honor their contributions to television history. May they rest in peace. Thank you for joining us on this journey down memory lane. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more nostalgic content. Until next time, take care and goodbye.